Hello, welcome to today's MAP training. We will be looking at some different reports that you can access to customize instruction in your classroom and group your students for differentiated instruction. Today I'm logged in to the MARC system as Janisha Kotafani. She is the sample 5th grade teacher. You will be able to log in as yourself so that you can access classroom reports for your own classroom. Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on View Reports and Instructional Resources and click on Map Reports. When I do that, I'm going to select Class Breakdown Reports, but we see all of the reports that you could access, including the very important class report that gives you a nice overview of your class. All right, today in Class Breakdown Reports, we will go ahead and access Fall 2012-13. You see that this brings up Janisha's information with her school, her name, and her homeroom. If you're an upper level teacher, you will probably have more than one class listed. We can choose the class breakdown by RIT, goal, or projected proficiency, and today we're going to choose goal. Go ahead and click that radio button. And the subject I chose today was language. So go ahead and click that, but we see that reading, science, and math are all options there. All right, and this brings our class breakdown report. We notice that the main area of language is broken into 4 goals. We see that students, it breaks down where students scored in each of those goals. So Martinez scored 181 to 190 in writing process, but he scored 191 to 200 in using correct punctuation, capitalization, and spelling. So each goal is broken down into their score. After each student's name is their overall RIT score for language. Remember that the RIT scale is much like a growth chart, and we will see students move across that growth chart or RIT scale as they progress through their educational career. Today I decided to look at use of punctuation, capitalization, and spelling. Now that could be something that we're about to study. It could be something I think could be easily incorporated into many areas of study and reinforced through different subjects. You choose. It might even be your school improvement goal. So we notice here that our students score all the way from 191 to 240 in use of punctuation, capitalization, and spelling. Okay, so that is the span of my scores. So now I have to decide, how can I teach these various scores within my classroom? How can I make sure that Martinez is learning while Flores is also learning? It's important that you differentiate to teach your lowest students and your highest students. Everyone needs to move and progress. So I can also look at my normative data and group these students. If I look at my normative data, it'll help me because I noticed that 207 is the language beginning of the year 5th grade mean score. And so that's in this range. So we notice that many of our students are actually above the mean, which is a good sign there. Okay, if we look at the median for our class and where they scored, it's 224, which would be over in this area. Okay, this is the RIT band where most of our students fell, 221 to 230. Okay, so now we can make some decisions and start to group our students. If we want to look at below the median for our class, we notice these 4 students in these 3 RIT bands are below the median score. So I would group them into the our below median group. And now let's go ahead and click on J.N. Vasquez here. Okay, we bring up his report and we notice he scores 220 to 229. Okay, so that would make him right at the median, which is 224, would be right there in the middle. So we can go ahead and go back. He would be in our at median group. Let's notice our student Diamond. 218 to 228, also right at that median. Okay, so they'll be our at median group. Now if we check Winston here, $220 to $229, also in our at median group. And Garcia, $221 to $229, also in our at median group. So our 4 students in this RIP band will be in our at median group. And then we will have 2 students that are in our above median group. Okay, now if you come over here and you click on use correct punctuation, capitalization, and spelling on the goal area, any one of these, but today we're focusing on this one. Go ahead and click that. It's actually going to give you a list of how your students scored. I like to go ahead in my classroom and highlight the different groups with different colors so that I can kind of get in my head the groupings of the students. As we progress on here and think about these groupings, we can use our data to instruction framework spreadsheet. It's a great graphic organizer that'll help you make some of those decisions that we just talked about for your own classroom. And if we scroll down here, we will see actually the Descartes continuum listed here. So when we look at Descartes, we want to consider that the middle area is the area that is ready for instruction today. That's the area that we want to be teaching our students. The area to the left are the items that they probably could get 73% of the time correct on a test. And the areas to the right, they would get these items 27% of the time. But right here in the middle it's the area that they're ready to learn right now. So I went along and analyzed, and I found some capitalization skills on each of the RIP bands and made a list of those. There were anywhere from 1 to 4 capitalization skills in those RIP bands. And I decided that those are things I could tackle with my own class. And tackle them with having many groups in my class, at least 3 groups, and so that each student is sure that they have these skills mastered and can move on to the right to the next skill in the RIP band. So as I went down the list though, and I'll just keep scrolling, when I got to capitalization, in my highest RIP band of 230, higher than 230, I noticed there are no skills listed. That tells me that capitalization should be mastered by this point. This is the time that as an instructor, I would have to make a decision about what my highest group would be doing during this instructional period. And I could apply the capitalization skills into writing. Students could have writing assignments tailored to fit in many names of places and people and animals, and I could see if they can apply those skills. The rest of my students would move through some podcasts for each of the RIP bands, And then after listening to a podcast with direct instruction, they might do some paper pencil practice with those skills. And then after that, they could take an online assessment, which could be made through Google Forms or something very quick like that. And they could test out of each writ band and move along on their capitalization skills. This allows the students to move at their own pace. So it's very customized to each individual student. So you can use these reports in your own classroom by choosing an area you would like to look at in more depth, such as the reading area, math, language, or science, and then choosing an individual goal within that area. Remember, we're going to look at our students from the lowest to the highest and make some decisions about grouping those students so that you can maximize instruction. Then use the Descartes and decide what skills you want to focus on to teach those groups. Good luck using maps, and remember, your ESU folks are just a phone call away if you need more help.